talk about my experience with three dreams I had over a 10-year period of time, I think it was, looking back, when I lived in Arizona. The first dream I had regarding the subject, and the subject is nuclear war. I was in Scottsdale somewhere, and it was in the late afternoon. Remember, the sky was red. It was going from orange to red, as is often the case in Arizona. If you've ever seen the sunset out there, there's often quite spectacular sunsets in Arizona. It's one of the things I miss about it, other than the mountains. I just remember that I saw a huge mushroom cloud over Phoenix. And I think at the time of this dream, I was probably in my late teens, early 20s, hard to remember. Time does move on. And I remember wondering if it was the nuclear facility that had exploded. But the size of the nuclear blast and the mushroom cloud kind of got rid of that thought, and there were other people in the street also witnessing the mushroom cloud and realizing that a lot of people just died. The second dream, I was in downtown Tempe on Mill Avenue, and in this dream was some years later. I was a boy, and I was skateboarding with friends on Mill Avenue, and it was late afternoon, sometime between 4 and 7 p.m. I'd say, before the sun had gone down. I remember sirens went off, and everybody said, "Hey, seek shelter." So I ran into this building, and we waited for whatever to happen was going to happen. We were in there for some time when we heard a rumbling, and the sirens went off. They stopped going. The sirens stopped. So after some time, we decided to go outside and look around. And when we went outside, the streets were empty. But looking east from where we were, we could see that there was a huge mushroom cloud over Phoenix in that direction. And it was just me and some other kids, and all the adults had gone. We were trying to figure out what to do. The third dream was much later. I was in my late 20s. In this dream, I was in East Mesa, near the Superstition Mountains, and I was driving down to Phoenix. And when you go that way, I think I was on, perhaps it was McKellips Road, or University, and I was driving down, or maybe even Brown. I was driving down into the valley, and when you get to a certain point, you can look down and see the entire valley. Well, before I reached that point, in the dream, there was a big dust storm, came whooshing out over the cars, and it became difficult to drive. So I pulled over, and I got out of my car, and I remember there was some other cars that had pulled over as well. And we had reached the point where you could see down into the valley of the sun, and what we could see was an enormous mushroom cloud way out, maybe even a little past downtown Phoenix. It was a few miles out west, on the west side, but you could see the impact was affecting all of Phoenix, and in fact I could not really remember seeing any tall buildings anymore downtown. I just remember that that's the direction Phoenix is supposed to be, and it had just been completely wiped out with one nuclear blast. And I realized that I think the reason I was driving that direction was I was on my way to work, and then of course I realized that was a stupid idea at this point. And so I just remember in the dream that I was going to get back in the car and head back to where I was. I think where I had come from, whether it be home or wherever I was staying at the time, and I just remember feeling a sense of dread that, and of course the dream was so vivid and real, with the sky and the dust and the cloud of the monster cloud, and the sun going down over Phoenix, and pretty much everybody realizing that was there that it was all over, that our lives as we knew were done, and we were lucky we weren't in the blast, and we had to figure out how to survive now. And that was the third dream I had. That was when I lived in East Mesa for some time, for a few years. And after that third dream, to be honest with you, I started to wonder. It's kind of strange that each dream was Phoenix. Each dream, the location of the bomb was in the same place. Each dream, it was in the evening or late afternoon before the sun set. And frankly, it scared me. And so I worry because I have friends and family in Arizona, and I'm concerned that if a nuclear war were to start with Russia or China, because of this Iran situation, or because of our support for Israel as a nation, that Phoenix would be a logical place to hit, because I don't think the world powers are going to want to destroy the farmlands. They're going to want to destroy the large cities first and get rid of certain things. And Phoenix has a plant called Boeing, which is a plant where they build helicopters, the Longbow, the Apache Longbow. They also make anti-tank shells down there. I remember when I was stationed at Boeing as a contractor, I went to the gun range there out in the field and watched them shoot these massive caliber rounds into a hill. And I guess those rounds would travel through the ground for quite a ways before the shell would slow down. And just the blast of those things was unbelievable. And so I see a strategic reason for an enemy of the United States to take out Phoenix and, of course, the Boeing plant. I always thought that that would be a logical target for them to strike. Anyway, this is the Scarecrow, and thanks for listening. And this is, the date is March 5th, 2013. And I'm quite surprised at this date that the Lord has not returned. But I do expect Him to return sometime soon, very soon. Thank you. God bless.